Welcome back to Grandads Kitchen. This time we're going to do mushroom steaks. And it's quite an exotic dish which I think will be quite impressive. And it is so easy to do, and yet the outcome is so superb. Firstly, what you do is you preheat your oven at 190 degrees centigrade. Preheat. You get a pan and put baking paper in the bottom of it. Now that's quite important, and you'll see why that's in the bottom of it when they're cooked. And get portobello mushrooms, the biggest ones that you can get, preferably ones that have got edges on them like these, got edges around, because what we're going to do, we're going to break an egg to put in there. So you get a knife, take out most of the stem, a little bit of a stem there, so the egg can rest in there easier, but you're also going to use a little stem for another purpose in a moment that you will see. Now for this video I'm doing only two, because there's only two of us for dinner tonight. But if you had 4 guests, you'd do 4. And you won't need more than 1 per guest, as you will see. So you take out that center. Now when you take the stem out, sometimes it's wise just to cut it in half and put it to one side. Now, if you have 2 or 4 or 5, spread the mushrooms as far apart as you can, and you'll see why that's important in a minute. So firstly, you've now got your mushroom, you've got your edge. Now you try and select mushrooms that are as balanced as possible. If they're off skew, or there's a bit of a low side, the egg will start to run out of it. So if that happens, you've got these to plug it with. Or, what I often do, I put them underneath as a little wedge to square them up, to stop the egg from running. But these mushrooms look pretty good to me. So you then put an egg inside the mushroom. Now I've learned that one of the secrets to this, to keep that egg stable, is to put the cheese that you're going to do on top straight away. So I've already got cheese prepared. Now watch this, the cheese goes over the top. Now it's keeping the egg in place, and you're quite generous with the cheese. Don't be mean with it. Doesn't matter if some of it falls on the paper. It doesn't matter. Now there, that's pretty good. And you can put as much cheese as you like on, and what type of cheese is up to you. I've got here tasty cheese, because that's what I like. Now, there's some flexibility here. In this case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put 2 prawns there. Now you could put 4 prawns or 1 prawn, but I'm going to put 2 if you like prawns. And then you get bacon, strips of bacon, and you put it over the top. See how it goes over? And over the top. There's your bacon. Crisscross it like that. Doesn't matter if it touches the paper. So there's under there is the prawn, because the prawns are a little bit more delicate. I'd put them underneath the bacon rather than on top. In this case, just to demonstrate, I happened to find I had some spare pre-cooked bacon actually in the fridge. I thought, well, I may as well use it. So again, I just put some, normally that would be bacon, and there it is, your strips of bacon going over onto the paper, and there's the bacon. And on the top of that, I put, in this case, capsicum. The last dish I did, I put sliced tomato on top. Now there you have a meal for 2 people. I'm going to put this in the oven for 17 minutes. 17 minutes at 190 degrees. And then you'll see what it's like when it comes out. And that, when it goes on a plate, and I've just prepared for this video a salad, when it goes on there, it's a very good meal for someone. It's enough for someone to have. On the other hand, that could be a bed of rice, that could be roast potatoes, it could be whatever you choose to do. But you don't need more than 1 mushroom per person. Now, the other advantage of this dish, if you're a working person, you could actually do that in the morning. and leave it. And when you come back at 7 o'clock at night, you just put it in the oven. It doesn't have to be cooked straight away, it can just be put in the fridge and just left. And for working people, that can be quite an advantage. So what I'm going to do now is put it in the oven. See that in there now? Now we'll see what it's like in 17 minutes time. Right, the mushroom steak's now been in for 17 minutes, so let's have a look and see what it looks like. We'll just come into the oven and just see what it looks like inside there. You can probably see they look absolutely scrumptious. So again, as you know, I always take the side of the pan when you're lifting something out, not the middle. And look at that coming out. Just look at that. Now you can see why that we had the baking paper underneath, because all of this that's around the mushroom is it's all part of the dish. So when you go to take it out, you keep this in your hand, so you're holding the paper and you're coming through on that, going underneath it, just loosening it a bit as you can, and you're pulling the whole thing out as one dish on the plate. Now look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. When you cut the mushroom, you will find in there how moist and succulent that is. Look at the moisture down there. Because of course people don't realise, I suppose, that the mushroom does have a lot of moisture, and so it doesn't dry out, and that's a beautiful, beautiful delicacy on a mushroom, and we call them mushroom steaks. So, in typical New Zealand style, bon appetit. Tomorrow, my grandson Noah and I, we're going to a place called Whangaroa Harbour, where I have what we call a batch. In New Zealand we call a holiday house a batch. And I've got a holiday house on the sea, and we're going up there tomorrow to make another recipe called barbecued bananas. So we'll do that tomorrow, so shortly that'll be on YouTube as well. And we'll do the filming on our deck overlooking the commercial fishing precinct of Whangaroa Harbour. During the filming of some of the recipes, you may have noticed this living plant on the kitchen bench. In New Zealand, it's what we call a kumara, Kumara. And around the rest of the world, it may be better known as a sweet potato. But if you, and they're beautiful to eat, but if you take a kumara and you prepare it to eat, and you're left with a piece of kumara, what you can do is just put it in water, and the roots grow. Just put it in water, and the roots grow. Now, also, what some people don't realise is that shoot that comes out with sweet potato, you can actually pull that off and plant it, and that becomes your next season's kumara. And when you do plant it on a mound about so high, so big, and then you plant the kumara plant. Notwithstanding that plant will just keep, as long as you keep watering it, will keep growing. And indeed, we've had one recently that was up on our refrigerator, and it actually came down the side, right down to this length. And they look fantastic. And a friend of mine put one of these pieces of sweet potato or kumara in a water vase on the wall, and the plant came down the wall, and it looks absolutely fantastic. And years ago I saw a kumara plant growing in a bucket of water that came up and right over the blackboard in one of the teachers' classrooms. So it's a novel thing, but it's actually quite nice to do. It's edible, of course, but it looks neat on your kitchen. And sometimes we have herbs in water and pots growing on our bench because it's all part of cooking, isn't it? So I just thought you may like to know what that plant is. So remember that, it's a sweet potato, or otherwise known as a kumara.